Hi, this is Donna DeRosa from DonnaDeRosa.com, and today I wanted to do a Q&A video about the Mediterranean diet, because I get people who write to me and ask me lots of questions about it, and some of them are things like, oh my god, you're eating carbs, or you can go to Starbucks on the Mediterranean diet, and things like that. And some of them are more practical about, like, what should I shop for when I go to the supermarket. So I thought I would go through a list of some of the questions that I get, and hopefully you'll find this helpful. First off, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Mediterranean diet itself. And when I use the word diet, I'm not using it the way that we often think of the word diet in the United States. Because a lot of times when we diet, we starve ourselves for a couple of weeks because we have a reunion coming up or we have a wedding that we're going to. So for 2 weeks before that event happens, we cut out all white foods and we think that that's going to help us. And you may lose a little weight doing that, but you're going to gain it right back as soon as you stop eating that way. So when I talk about the Mediterranean diet, it's really talking about a lifestyle. The word diet in Greek means actually lifestyle, and it's not about a program that you're following, it's just about a way of life, of the way that you're eating. So it's kind of like going back to the way that our grandparents and our great-grandparents ate, to where they ate fresh seasonal vegetables, and they lived life by spring and fall and winter, and whatever was in season is what they ate. And things weren't processed back then, and so that when you ate something that was what we consider a carb, like a loaf of bread, it was a loaf of bread that they made at home. It was made with few ingredients, and you can still eat that way today by going to the bakery instead of buying something in the supermarket that has like 22 ingredients on a loaf of bread. So it's really a lifestyle change. It's not about starving yourself. So the number one question that I get when I'm doing the Mediterranean diet is people say, are you eating carbs? We're carb obsessed in the United States, and carbs really aren't a bad thing. It's just there are a lot of highly processed carbs out there on the market, and they're the ones that are bad for you. So you don't want to go and buy, like I said, a loaf of bread that has like 27 different ingredients on it, where you can buy a loaf of bread that's healthy for you, that's just made with a few basic ingredients like flour, yeast, some water, maybe some olive oil, maybe a little bit pinch of salt, and that's all the ingredients that are involved in that. So something like a French baguette, by law, France has limited the ingredients of what can be in a French baguette. So if you're in France, you know that when you buy a baguette, you're getting like a really healthy, simple loaf of bread. Now, you're not going to eat, of course, the whole loaf of bread yourself. So it's not going to hurt you to eat carbs once in a while and to eat carbs in your daily diet. You need them for energy. You need them to burn them off. And which comes to my second point, which is moderation. A big thing of the Mediterranean diet is to just not eat so much. We eat so much food in the United States. Our portion sizes have grown to incredible sizes. Like when you go to a restaurant, you can usually take half of your food home. And you don't need as much food as you think just to gain your nutrition and to sustain yourself throughout the day. So try reducing your portion sizes as well and eat everything in moderation. So you don't really have to cut out anything, you just have to eat lesser amounts of it. So another question that came in on my YouTube channel was, you're going to Starbucks? What can I have at Starbucks on the Mediterranean diet? Well, the Mediterranean diet that I follow is mostly an Italian-based diet, but all the countries in Europe are very much into their coffee, so you don't have to cut coffee out of your diet of the Mediterranean diet. It's just that when you go to Starbucks, you don't want to order a mocha caramel latte frappuccino kind of thing that can have 800 calories in it. Just a simple espresso or a simple latte. My favorite drink is to get a decaf non-fat latte. So I get non-fat milk, mainly because I really don't like the taste of milk that much, but also it reduces the calories in that drink significantly. So yes, you can go to Starbucks, you just have to be careful about what you order. Another question I get is, can I have smoothies? Do they fit in on the Mediterranean diet? Of course you can have smoothies. Smoothies are great for you. The only thing to be wary about with a smoothie is if you start adding a lot of fruit into them, like lots of different kinds of fruit, you're adding a lot of sugar. And it's probably more servings of something that you're used to eating. So you could be adding a lot of calories to your diet. So if you want to have a smoothie, you go right ahead. Just fill them with nice, healthy green vegetables and maybe make it a meal replacement instead of just adding it to your diet throughout the day, because you're going to be adding a lot of calories. So smoothies are great for you. Like anything, it's just what you put in them. Another question I get is, can you eat meat on the Mediterranean diet? Now personally, I don't like to eat a lot of meat, but that's my preference. But yes, you can eat meat on the Mediterranean diet, but it's in very small portions and it's not very often. So I'll cut in a picture here about the Mediterranean diet pyramid, which is a way to look at how much and how often you should be eating of certain foods. So you'll see on this pyramid that meat is reduced to maybe a couple times a week, maybe only a few times a month. So you don't want to eat meat in large portions. Now, we're used to in the United States centering our meals around whatever meat we're going to eat. So we choose our meat and then we put side dishes around it like potatoes and vegetables. What you really want to do is make meat your side dish and don't eat it all the time. Like, don't eat it at every meal. A lot of people eat meat 3 times a day. You know, they eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's really not necessary. It's great if you want to replace something like that with fish. It's really high in protein, it's good in omega-3 fatty acids, and it's much healthier for you. And I think you find if you learn how to make vegetables and you embrace them, there are lots of interesting ways that you can make them and you won't even miss meat. So try to reduce meat in your diet. Yes, you can eat it, but like anything, it should be in very small portions. Another question I get, well, it's really a statement, is a lot of people tell me, I don't have time to cook. So I guess the question could be, how do you find time to cook? This is going to be the tough love part. You have to make time to cook. You really do. Because the only way that you're going to know what ingredients are in your food is if you prepare it yourself. But there are lots of things that you can do to prep food in advance. So if you work a full-time job, the night before, maybe you can chop up your vegetable ingredients so you don't have to do that when you get home. Or what I like to do is I like to make large quantities of things and then I eat it twice. You know, so I'll make something and then I'll save it, and then maybe a couple days later I'll eat it again. I think the food industry in the United States has done a good job of convincing people that it's hard to cook because they want you to buy all those expensive prepackaged foods that you can find in the supermarket. I don't think I spend more than 30 to 45 minutes each night making my dinner. And if that sounds like too much to you, then you have to rethink your priorities, because if you want to be on the Mediterranean diet, you're going to have to do a little work for it. And like I said, it's tough love time. You just have to make time to cook. We're all busy. We all have the same amount of time in the day. There are a lot of things you can do to reduce the amount of time and that it takes to cook, and maybe you can even share duties. So if you have kids or if you have a husband, maybe you can spread some of the duties around with chopping and preparing different things, and just enjoy the process, because it can be fun to cook. Like, I actually enjoy sitting and chopping vegetables. It's kind of therapeutic for me. And maybe learn how to embrace the fact that you are cooking and enjoy it as family time, or enjoy it as something that you're doing special for yourself, because you're worth it. You're worth a home-cooked meal. And that is my response to that question that I get when people say, I don't have time to cook. Yes, you do. It's just a matter of what your priorities are. So the last question I want to address is how to shop for the Mediterranean diet. I've had people ask me to give them some simple rules so that when they go to the supermarket, they can make it easy for them to shop for the Mediterranean diet. So the first thing I would say to do is to buy olive oil. Now, I buy 2 different kinds of olive oil. I buy regular olive oil and I buy extra virgin olive oil. I use the regular olive oil for cooking, and I use the extra virgin olive oil for salad dressings or for drizzling on things or for seasonings, because it has a lower heat point. So if you try to cook with extra virgin olive oil, it's going to smoke quicker. So you want to cook with regular olive oil and then get the extra virgin olive oil for all of your seasonings. Also, you want to buy vegetables, and you want to buy them that are in season. Now, I try to stay away from the frozen food section and from the canned vegetables. Go to the produce section and buy the fresh vegetables, because that's going to be packed with the most nutrition. It's going to have the best texture, because a lot of times if you buy frozen vegetables, they're going to be a little mushy when you cook them, even though they may have some nutritional value. They're not going to be as pleasant to eat. So buy in season, buy fresh vegetables. Go to the bakery department and see if you can get your bread there instead of the prepackaged loaves that are on the shelf. So another thing to shop for are some interesting grains. So maybe try some farro or some quinoa or some couscous. You know, try some of the Mediterranean kind of grains that they eat in Greece and Israel and Italy and different parts of the world. And just try to make interesting meals out of those. And also, stock up on beans. I buy cannellini beans all the time. You can buy black beans. I buy lentils, and they're great ways to add protein to your meal and to fill you up, and they taste great too. So when you're shopping for the Mediterranean diet, think about how much nutrition you can add to each meal. Think about adding nutrition to your plate. Try to add lots of beautiful colors to your plate, lots of vegetables, some healthy grains, and some protein. And so don't just think about how you're going to fill yourself up for that day, and don't try to build your meals around meat. Try to build your meals around nutrition, and it'll be a very healthy diet. Thank you for joining me. I hope this video helps you on your journey in the Mediterranean diet. If you have any more questions about the Mediterranean diet, please write them in the comment section below, and I will try to address them in another video. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to know when I publish my next video, just hit the little bell and you'll be notified every time I publish. So thank you. Bye.